There is one moment that separates athletes who build something extraordinary from athletes who spend their entire lives starting over. It is not the moment they begin training. It is not the moment they hit a personal best. It is not the moment they feel most motivated or most disciplined. It is the moment after they miss a training session. Because missing once is human. Missing twice is the beginning of a habit. And the habit of missing is the only habit that can completely destroy everything you have built. Marcus Aurelius understood this principle 2,000 years ago. He wrote about it. He lived it. He built 19 consecutive years of extraordinary consistency by following one single rule about the moment after failure. Today we reveal that rule and show you exactly how to apply it to build the most consistent training practice of your entire athletic life. Welcome back to Stoic Athlete, where ancient wisdom meets modern fitness. Consistency is the most underrated quality in athletic development. Not talent, not genetics, not the perfect program, or the optimal nutrition plan, or the most advanced recovery protocol. Consistency. The boring, unglamorous, non-negotiable daily practice of showing up. Whether you feel like it or not, whether conditions are perfect or not, whether motivation is high or completely absent. Marcus Aurelius built his extraordinary philosophical and physical discipline, not through bursts of intense effort, but through relentless daily consistency, maintained over 19 years. He wrote about consistency in Meditations, not as an achievement to celebrate, but as the baseline expectation he held himself to every single day. Today, we break down his 5 principles of consistency and show you exactly how to build the unbreakable training habit that most athletes spend their entire lives trying to find. Marcus Aurelius wrote the sentence that contains the entire philosophy of athletic consistencies. He said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. And if you have stumbled, rise immediately." Rise immediately, not tomorrow, not next week, not after you have beaten yourself up sufficiently about the missed session. Immediately. This is the Stoic rule of never missing twice, and it is the single most powerful consistency principle ever discovered. Here is the mathematics of consistency that most athletes never examine. Missing one training session costs you approximately 1 session of progress. Manageable, recoverable, completely within normal athletic development. Missing 2 consecutive sessions costs you something far more expensive: the habit of showing up. Because the mind that has skipped twice has established a precedent. It has proved to itself that skipping is something it does, and the third skip becomes slightly easier than the second, and the fourth easier than the third. The chain of consistency is not broken by missing once. It is broken by missing twice. Marcus Aurelius missed days. He wrote about them. The days when duty felt impossible, when his body was exhausted, when the weight of empire made his personal philosophical practice feel trivial, but he always rose immediately. He always came back the very next day. He never allowed one miss to become two. For the Stoic athlete, never missing twice is not a rule about perfection. It is a rule about recovery. Miss once, return immediately. The next session is non-negotiable, not because you feel guilty, not as punishment, but because the chain of your consistency is the most valuable asset in your athletic development. And one link in that chain has already broken. Do not let two break. Marcus Aurelius wrote the sentence that contains the entire secret of his extraordinary 19-year consistency. He said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." First say to yourself what you would be, not what you want to do, not what you plan to do, who you are. The most common mistake athletes make with consistency is treating it as a behavior they are trying to perform rather than an identity they are trying to inhabit. The athlete who is trying to be consistent asks themselves every morning, "Do I feel like training today?" Some mornings the answer is yes. Many mornings the answer is no. And on the no mornings, consistency depends entirely on willpower, which is finite, which runs out, which fails at the exact moment it is most needed. The athlete who is consistent does not ask the question. They train because that is what consistent athletes do. It is not a decision that requires willpower. It is an expression of identity that requires nothing more than being who they have decided to be. Marcus Aurelius did not ask himself every morning whether he felt like being a Stoic philosopher. He was a Stoic philosopher, and Stoic philosophers did their philosophical practice. The decision had been made once, at the level of identity, and then it was not made again every morning. For the Stoic athlete, building the identity of consistency requires one specific practice. Drop this sentence. Say it out loud. Believe it completely. I am a Stoic athlete. I train consistently. This is who I am, not who I am trying to become. Then act from that identity every single day. The consistent athlete does not negotiate with the alarm. They do not evaluate whether conditions are perfect. They do not wait to feel motivated. They train, because that is who they are. Marcus Aurelius understood something about motivation that most modern athletes never fully grasp. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. Do not allow yourself to be controlled by that which you cannot see." He was describing the fundamental unreliability of motivation as a consistency tool. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are outside your control. They rise and fall with sleep quality, nutrition, stress, weather, and 1,000 other variables that have nothing to do with your athletic commitment. Building your consistency on motivation is building your training practice on the most unstable possible foundation. It will hold perfectly on the days you least need it, and collapse completely on the days you need it most. Marcus Aurelius built his consistency on a system, a daily structure so precisely designed that the question of motivation never arose. The system determined what happened, not his feelings about it. For the Stoic athlete, the consistency system has 5 non-negotiable elements. First, a fixed training time, not approximately 6 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 6 p.m., the same time every single day. When the clock reaches that time, training begins. The decision was made once. It does not get made again every day. Second, a fixed training location, the same gym, the same space, the same environment. Your nervous system associates that location with training and begins preparing your physiology for effort before you have done a single rep. Third, a fixed minimum session. On your worst days, the minimum is all that is required. 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes of movement. Whatever is small enough to have no legitimate excuse to skip. Fourth, a fixed pre-training ritual. The same sequence of actions before every session. This signals to your body and mind that training is beginning and generates the physiological readiness that motivation was supposed to provide. Fifth, a fixed review practice. Every session logged, every consistency streak visible, because what gets measured gets maintained, and the visible record of your consistency becomes one of its own most powerful reinforcers. Marcus Aurelius designed his daily system with military precision. Design yours with the same care, then trust it, especially on the days when you feel like trusting it least. Marcus Aurelius wrote about consistency with a long-term perspective that most athletes never develop. He said, "Confine yourself to the present, but do it in the service of the greatest cause." The greatest cause. Not today's workout. The athlete you are becoming through the accumulated effect of every workout. The compound effect of daily consistency is the most powerful and most misunderstood force in athletic development. Here is how it works. An athlete who trains with 70% intensity every single day for 1 year will always outperform an athlete who trains with 100% intensity 3 days per week. Not because individual sessions are more effective at lower intensity, but because consistency creates a compounding return that no amount of individual session excellence can replicate. Every consistent session builds on every previous session without interruption. Neural adaptations deepen. Hormonal patterns establish themselves. Movement quality refines. Recovery efficiency improves. The body becomes progressively more capable of adapting to training stimulus. Because the training stimulus is consistent enough to drive continuous adaptation. The inconsistent athlete, however intense their individual sessions, interrupts this process constantly. They spend a significant portion of every intense session simply recovering the ground lost during their absence, rather than building on the foundation of their previous session. Marcus Aurelius built his philosophical practice through exactly this compound consistency. Every day's philosophical work built on every previous day's philosophical work without interruption for 19 years. The result, Meditations, one of the greatest documents of human wisdom ever produced. Not from one brilliant day of philosophical insight, from 19 years of daily philosophical consistency. Your training is your meditations. The compound effect of your consistency is building something extraordinary right now, but only if you show up every day to let it compound. Marcus Aurelius wrote one of the most profound motivations for consistency ever recorded. He said, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess. And then, thankfully, remember how eagerly you would have sought them if they were not yours." He was talking about gratitude for what you have built. But embedded in this principle is a profound message about consistency. Every training session you complete today is a gift you are giving to your future self. The strength you build this month, your future self will use it. The discipline you develop this year, your future self will rely on it. The consistency habit you establish in this training block, your future self will live from it. And every session you skip today is a gift you are stealing from your future self. The energy your future self will need. You are not building the strength your future self will require. You are not developing the consistency habit your future self will depend on. You are actively undermining. Marcus Aurelius made every decision as the emperor with the long-term health of Rome in his consideration, not just the immediate convenience of his present moment. The Stoic athlete makes every training decision with the long-term development of their future self in consideration, not just the immediate comfort of their present mood. When you do not feel like training today, ask yourself one question: what does my future self need from me right now? Then train for them, not for how you feel today, for who they need you to have been. Marcus Aurelius was consistent for 19 years. Not perfect, consistent. He missed days. He struggled. He wrote about wanting to quit and choosing to continue. He faced every obstacle that has ever stopped an athlete: exhaustion, illness, loss, overwhelming external demands. And he returned every single time because he had 5 principles of consistency so deeply embedded in his daily practice that returning was always more natural than staying away. Here are those 5 principles for the Stoic athlete. 1. Never miss twice. Missing once is human. Missing twice is the beginning of a habit. Rise immediately after every miss. The next session is non-negotiable. 2. Build the identity of the consistent athlete. Stop trying to be consistent. Decide you are consistent. Then, act from that identity without asking whether you feel like it. 3. Design your consistency system. Fixed time, fixed location, fixed minimum, fixed ritual, fixed review. Build the system that makes showing up the path of least resistance. 4. Trust the compound effect. Small daily sessions compounding over months and years produce results that appear miraculous. Show up every day and let the compound do what it always does. 5. Train for your future self. Every session today is a gift to the person you will be tomorrow, next year, and in 10 years. Train for them, especially on the days when training for your present self feels impossible. Marcus Aurelius showed up for 19 years. One day at a time, one session at a time, one choice at a time. Your next session is waiting. Never miss twice. This is Stoic Athlete. Train your body, master your mind. Never miss twice. Subscribe for a new video every week. Marcus Aurelius is waiting.